to be the America's oldest drive-in theater without some special help from the community. I was talking to some people here. We have a mother-daughter who was here, coming here for 4 generations. We have another family who said that they remembered listening to the movies here just from their backyard. This place is the fabric of this community here. So how does it feel to you guys to not only get this recommendation and this recognition, but also know that it's coming from such a strong community backing you guys?
It's humbling. You know, the Lehigh Valley is an area steeped in tradition, and Shankweiler's has been there for a long time, entertaining generations of moviegoers under the stars. And I grew up coming here. This is a full circle experience for me. So to be able to continue that tradition for future generations is an enormous honor, and this is an incredible surprise. So this is really cool.
Guys, you mean so much to the Lehigh Valley and the state of Pennsylvania. You're just a big part of what makes this state so special. How about it, guys?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Can I have some popcorn? Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, the popcorn was good. Nice job. Nice to see everybody. Next week, we're going to head to America's 3rd state, New Jersey, also home of Amanda Anisimova. I believe the 10th. Yeah.
A+.
That A+ right there.
Yeah.
Coming up, the stars of Zombies 4 perform live.
Quad Cities drives Green Buick GMC because nobody sells GMCs for less. Drive a new 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab 4x4 and save $11,000 off MSRP. Current GMC owners save $14,000 off MSRP or get low 0% financing. We have over 39 for you to choose from. You gotta go to Green Buick GMC because nobody sells GMCs for less.
I'm Jill Green, and I approve this message.
Green, green, gotta go to green.
We're your neighbors. We're your friends and family. We're your kids' coach cheering alongside you. We're your local restoration professionals. We know life happens. Pipes burst. Stormwater rushes in. When things don't go right, trust the pros at Warner Restoration for your home, your business, and most importantly,
Good Friday morning, Quad Cities. It is 9 o'clock here on a Friday morning. This is Friday, July 11th, by the way. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzke here in the Storm Track 8 Weather Center, where we are tracking a potentially very active afternoon and evening. I want to thank you for joining us here on this special stream on the A+ app. I believe we're also simulcasting this to our Facebook stream as well. I will leave some time for questions. We're going to spend about the next 30 minutes taking a deeper dive into the setup we have for severe storms today. We'll talk about a couple of different scenarios, the timing of the storms, when they're likely going to arrive in specific hometowns, the threats those storms will bring, and of course also how much more rain we could potentially pick up. Because I think, in addition to a little wind damage that we had yesterday, the rain has been the biggest story by far with this pattern. We have so much moisture sitting into the region, and it's going to increase even more as we go into this afternoon with this next line of storms. So thanks for joining me. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat right there on Facebook, or even better yet, go ahead and text your questions to our number at the bottom of your screen there. It's 309-304-0888, 309-304-0888, and once more time, 309-304-0888. Our awesome folks on our digital team will help relay those questions to me, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get those answered for you. So let's start off with the weather impact alert itself. Now that we've moved on from the heavy rain threat this morning, we're focusing on the next round, which is scheduled to arrive later this afternoon and especially into this evening. This is the time frame I think we're primed for, between 4 and 9 o'clock. That timing has been fairly consistent here for the last several model runs of data that I looked at ever since late last night. The impact will be flash flooding and severe storms. Even if you haven't seen a whole bunch of rainfall, I'm looking at you, Galesburg, Burlington, and Monmouth down in that region. These storms coming in this evening are going to be loaded with even more water than what we had last night and the day before. So the flash flood threat exists for everyone. It doesn't matter if you had the rain or not already. Keep that in mind. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to do what you're doing right now. You're watching our severe storm discussion here on the A+ app. You're getting more information from myself and our team of meteorologists here at WQAD. Also, make sure you have your Storm Track 8 app loaded on your phone, ready to go with notifications turned on. That way you can get the alerts in terms of any watches or warnings if they become issued or relevant for your area. So a couple of things we're going to be tracking here as we go into the afternoon. This morning, we've already seen some showers and thunderstorms. Most of that activity was strongest to our west, and then it just kind of died out while it reached our region. I'm going to back this up about 6 hours so you can see kind of how all of this has been evolving throughout the morning and overnight. So there was the line of severe storms there that tried to make it here, just didn't happen. It fizzled out. The rest of the rain, at least what's left of it anyway, is right now up along the Highway 20 corridor. So that's all that we have for rain right now. The rest of us are quickly drying out. So the fact that we are drying out and we're actually going to start seeing a little bit of sunshine is a little concerning when it comes to the severe threat this afternoon, because this is kind of the atmosphere that's going to be priming itself and moving in our direction as we go throughout the day. This is the low pressure system, by the way, that's going to drive the thunderstorms that will likely develop into parts of Iowa as we go into this afternoon and then race eastward this evening with that wind and tornado threat and also the flash flooding threat as well. So the fact that we have clearing ongoing here in southern Iowa, definitely a telltale sign that things could get cooking here as we go into the afternoon. Remember, you need storm energy to get storms going. So that's the setup that we're going to be watching. Everyone is under a flood watch, as I said earlier. So even though if you haven't had heavy rain, whether it be last night or this morning, everyone will be vulnerable to some flooding of some extent here as these storms move through. That flood watch goes until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. Very heavy rain, flash flooding will be possible. Remember to never cross a flooded roadway. We saw many instances of that last night, especially with the video that Morgan posted. If you haven't seen it, check out all of the social media pages. They're all there, and the posts there too. And yeah, just something you really shouldn't do, because you never know how deep that water could potentially be or whether the roadway underneath of it is still intact. So that can definitely get you in trouble quite quickly. The severe weather risk today, this is from the Storm Prediction Center, and this was just updated at 8 o'clock. We will get the next update at 11:30. Still has us in a 2 out of 5 risk, so that means scattered severe storms will be possible. That is for everyone today, whether you're up in Dubuque, Galena, or all the way down to Macomb, and both sides of the river all included in that. Here's the timeline of when I expect that risk to kind of start ramping up. So we had a little bit of a risk early this morning. Now we're down to the bottom there. We're kind of in a lull, or we're in a break. But once we get to noon, and then 2 o'clock, and then finally 4 o'clock, you notice how that risk begins to ramp itself up. It begins to get a little bit higher. And right there from that 4 to 6 o'clock window, I think is where most of the action is going to be coming in to the Quad Cities metro. And then it'll quickly move off to the east. What threats are we tracking today? Well, the tornado threat, it is elevated. That is a 2 out of 5. Also, the wind threat, the potentially getting those gusts up to 70 miles an hour, is also a 2 out of 5. We did see some hail yesterday, but I think today that hail threat is going to be a little bit further west of us, where the storms will initially form in central Iowa and eastern Iowa. I don't think that hail threat's going to be nearly as close to home as it was yesterday, so that's kind of a lower threat. But yeah, that's conditions for tornadoes today. They are there, and it's very similar to what we've seen the last couple of storm events, where we get this line of storms to come in, and then along the line we get these really quick spin-ups that occur. That's the setup we have going today. So we're not talking about EF2 or stronger tornadoes. We're talking about EF0, EF1 tornadoes that are going to be coming in, so the weaker kind. But still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't treat it with any less urgency as things begin to evolve going into the afternoon. So meteorologist Morgan Strackmine is joining me here at the weather desk this morning. Welcome. You had quite a night last night.
Oh my.
Wow.
I go to trivia a lot on Thursdays at Port Bros. And we went across the street to Tommy's, and I all of a sudden just looked out the window. It was a river in the middle of the street.
Crazy.
I was like, we're not leaving. And then the amount of cars.
Yes.
That's what baffled me the most is, and I know that that kind of starts to get to a sticky area where you don't have much choice to move, but you know, again, it's the turnaround, don't drown.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get out of there, get out of there. Or wait, I mean, it really didn't take long, 20, 25 minutes for the water to be completely gone.
Kind of get the storm sewer caught up. And,
yeah. It was crazy though. It looked insane.
Was there any damage? Did the water come inside
Yes.
at all? I was wondering about that semi that blew through there, and I saw the waves coming, and the guy said, oh my gosh, the tsunami's coming. And I was like, oh no.
No, there was water definitely inside of the place. And so it was rough, but again, didn't last long, which is good. And that's kind of a good reminder. And that's what I was talking to the National Weather Service about this morning. Is I was just surprised at how many cars went through there.
Kept driving.
And luckily made it through, but I was waiting for one of them to just stop.
Yeah, that's an expensive repair, even with insurance.
Yes.
And they're not going to be too happy about that when you tell them what you've done. But yeah, that can really ruin your day.
Yeah, and again, it like if you can get around it, no problem. Get around it, because then you're making sure, you know, emergency personnel is going where more emergent situations are happening. So you kind of save them the trip from coming to help you. So it's just a good reminder.
It can be quite messy.
Yes.
And it escalated very quickly, and we're kind of expecting kind of a repeat scenario this evening. I was looking at some of the moisture levels. We had what we called yesterday the precipitable water, which is what we use to measure that moisture. Today it's even higher than what it was yesterday.
You can feel it outside. It's starting to get humid. I actually started to see the clouds thin out. We're starting to get a little sun filtering in. So that means, you know, energy is going to start building, and it's going to be probably pretty muggy this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to get hot, and it is going to get sticky. If you're curious on the timing of this, we can take you into Future Track. I do want to remind you this is the half hour where we get the new model run. So we are going to continually kind of check in on this because I'm really curious to see what the newer run is going to show. I already know what the high resolution, kind of the smaller run showed. But that one, it's trying to bring a line of storms in here at about 11 o'clock this morning, and I just don't see that happening quite yet. I do like this scenario that the morning run showed, where, as Morgan said, you're seeing the skies open up. We're seeing the sunshine come in. That's cooking things into the atmosphere. We're destabilizing. And then you get this big cluster of severe storms to develop in central Iowa about 3 o'clock, then racing into the Quad Cities between about 4 and 6. And we're still getting that Boeing signature. We had this in the model data yesterday. It's back in the data again this morning, indicating that the strong wind potential is going to be there as that line plows through.
that purple.
Yeah.
That's where you start to see purples popping up and the dark red. You know that's going to be some heavy rain that's potentially coming our way.
Yeah, and also look at how wide these storms are. This isn't going to be that skinny line that just plows through. This is going to be a substantial width of a storm system.
Yeah, and something I always talk about with these lines is like once you get through that leading edge, you usually are all clear from the severe threat. But with this and how, again, like you said, wide, yeah, you might get through the damaging wind threat. You might get through some of those, maybe a couple of spin-ups along that line too. Again, the leading edge might be all clear from the severe weather threat, but then we're talking about a lot of heavy rain behind it. So you're gonna have to, you know, be weather aware even for a while this evening, because like we saw last night, just that heavy cluster of rain. And so that goes to show that our ground is already gonna be really saturated. With that, the ground really can't take on too much more water. So we could definitely have another, which again, we have that flood watch for today. So there's no surprise there. We could definitely see a lot of pooling on streets, and especially with this coming in with the evening commute, I would definitely watch out for that. If you can delay yourself a little bit, if you start to see that pooling, I would highly recommend it. Again, like I said on my Facebook post, it's definitely not worth your safety and definitely not worth trying to fix your car over.
Yeah, it is just, it's a mess. It is a real big mess, and it's a quick way to ruin your day. So 4 to 6 here in the metro. I think once we get past 6, we're talking about the Illinois side. There'll likely be a little weakening the further east it goes, but still I think some of our Illinois hometowns could see that good gust of wind, the tornado threat, also the heavy rain threat too as well. And then we're going to get that system out of here by midnight. I think after midnight, things are quieting down. It's just cloudy. There'll be one more opportunity for a couple of storms tomorrow afternoon. I'll jump ahead to show you that here. Nothing severe with this activity, just a scattering of some showers, maybe a quick pop-up thunderstorm with a cold front that's going to be pushing through. The main show will absolutely be today. We're not really worried about too much as we go into tomorrow. Looking at a couple of the ingredients here, especially when it comes to storm energy, how much of that are we going to have available to us as we go into the afternoon? You can see there's quite a bit. I mean, we're talking 2,500 plus, and we measure this in joules per kilogram. You look at the scale there on the right-hand side, that's in the high category. And there are actually some areas that will be higher than that you can see elevated in that fuchsia kind of color. That's extreme amounts of energy. So there's no question we're going to have the energy today.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
Oh, it's going to be there, and I can already feel it out there this morning. Again, when it's warm and it's humid, that's exactly what storms want. Again, even if we don't see, I mean, I'm anticipating that we're going to get some sunshine, but even if we don't see the sunshine, you can just feel the environment is primed.
Yeah, it's ready to go as we go into this afternoon. Here's the other thing we can show you too, kind of a breakdown of all the storm ingredients. Now the temperature here is a little bit higher than what I've got forecast. This model has us particularly higher into the 90s today. Could we get there? It's possible. It really depends on the sun. But what I want to focus on is that available water column that you see at the bottom of your screen. When that gets to be 2 inches or more, we're talking a very, very, very heavy rainfall rate. That rainfall rate could exceed 3 to 5 inches per hour on the rainfall rate. So we have the storm energy, we have the available moisture. No question the dew points are going to be there, the temperature is going to be there. It is a perfect setup and a perfect scenario to get very heavy rainfall and flash flooding. Along with, not to mention, when you get all this water in a storm, it can also enhance the wind gusts as the storms are coming through, because all of that water is being dragged down to the ground.
Yeah, we like to call that as downbursts because, again, like Andrew said, you get all this water, it's rushing from the sky, it carries that wind, and you'll likely see a lot of really gusty winds out there.
Yeah, we call that water loading, and that's what these storms are going to do very, very efficiently. And I think the other factor we talked about a little bit is the corn sweat. We've reached the maximum. We're in the process of reaching the maximum. So in addition to all this available water, we're throwing corn sweat into the air as well. That kind of makes it even more enhanced in this kind of a setup. So what do you need to do today, especially when it comes into this afternoon? Well, one, do you have a way to receive alerts? Weather radio, your cell phone, especially those of you that are camping at this time. If you're camping next to a creek, next to a river, next to even the tiniest little stream, You need a way to receive all these kinds of warnings, especially the flood ones, because that level can change quickly. Just like you saw in Morgan's video. That probably happened in what, less than half an hour, I'm guessing?
I looked outside, it was fine. A couple minutes later, it was a river.
Yeah.
It was very, very fast at how quick that water was pooling. So again, the flash flooding is, I talked to John Diaz about this yesterday, and he's going to have some more looking at, floods across the nation on News 8 this week on Sunday. And we were just talking about how quick flash flooding really does happen. And it becomes really hard to warn people when it's happening because you can't just put it out there. It's kind of like a tornado. It's kind of like tornadoes. We know the environment is primed for it, but we can't tell you where it's going to happen or if it's going to happen.
Exactly.
It's kind of a wait and see scenario.
And if we could, somebody would use that to their advantage to be a millionaire at this point, because just think of how many things you could, kind of predict in the future and get people out of harm's way and assets out of harm's way. So, yeah, I know we're kind of broad brushing it, but the potential is certainly there. We don't want to downplay that, at any time any of this could certainly happen, especially based on what we saw last night.
Yeah, it's just very, very shocking how fast it can happen.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you do, with this event happening very close to that evening commute, it's just good to have in mind that if you're working today or if you have plans this evening, be sure you're just being a little more weather aware. If you do run into any pooling water on roadways, please don't try to go through it.
Yeah, don't try to do that. Definitely do not do what we saw happen last night. We're going to get to some questions because I know there's a lot of them. Usually the biggest question we often get is, when is this going to arrive in my hometown? So we're going to try to answer a huge chunk of those in a very short period of time. We're going to slow roll future track to show you kind of when the arrival is going to be. I'm going to take a quick peek at that actually and just see if it updated yet, if we got the newer run or if we're still on the old one, because we're in that time where we could get the new one at any moment here. And it looks like we have not gotten the new one quite yet. So we'll continue to check in on that.
Yeah, I'm just going to make sure that we're hitting everyone's questions because I know we've gotten a couple people asking about their towns for sure.
Yeah.
But
and we'll definitely
and we just talked about this too. So one of the first questions is, last night I heard Mr. Zahara talking about a rain-loaded downdraft. My question is, what is it and how destructive can winds get with those? Thank you for your time and have a great day. That's Billy from Clinton.
Oh, our friend Billy.
Yes.
Yeah, those we call them a wet microburst. That's going to be the case today, especially because of all this moisture. And it's all with gravity. You have the weight of all the water. It rushes to the ground, and what is it going to pull down with it? It's going to pull down air and wind.
And I've seen quite a few very intense microbursts, and they can take down trees. So the winds can get that destructive. So it's no surprise that wind is definitely going to be on our watch for today too, with that heavy rain.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody was saying my rain gauge was 4 inches. No surprise at all.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Tyler says, could the severe threat possibly go up to a level 3? Are there any chances that a watch would be issued later this evening? I'd say a watch for sure is more than likely right now.
High probability we're going to have some kind of a watch here. In terms of getting a 3 out of 5, we would have to see a very substantial complex of thunderstorms develop to the west that's got a very widespread wind threat with it. That would elevate us to a 3 out of 5. I'm not going to rule it out, but as of right now, I don't see it screaming 3 out of 5 yet.
And we'll get another update from the Storm Prediction Center at around 12:30?
Yep.
Yeah,
11:30 to 12:30.
Oh, 11:30.
Yep.
I don't know. It's daylight saving.
Daylight saving time, yes.
It shifts an hour
it
for half the
messes
year,
with your
so
clock, yeah.
I can never tell. I know it's between 11:30 and 12:30. Marcus from Moline. My question is, what are the storms looking like for? So we have Knoxville, New Boston, Peru, Sterling. Those are the 4 towns that I've seen. Macomb.
Macomb in there too? Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're going to go through this and get down to the timing.
Yeah, so this one's pretty easy because everyone is in the same risk today.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're north, south, east, west, everyone's got everything on the table, including the tornado threat, the wind threat. The hail threat's more west, I think, where the initial storms will be firing. But yeah, we're talking everything for everybody today in terms of what can you expect in your hometown? What threats can you expect? I can't say today that the tornado threat is highest this place or this place because it's the same for everybody. We've got this lingering boundary sitting in the region, and that's all it takes to get some of that spinning motion in addition to some leftover boundaries that we had yesterday as well. Just on the fly, I'll put that up here really quickly for you. Ignore the day on the banner and the data here for a second, because again, we're going to do this as we're live here with you. But I will put the tornado thread on there, and you can see everyone has it. Yeah.
And that's no surprise. And again, with this kind of storm system, it doesn't look super cellular, so we're not expecting any super large, long track tornadoes.
Yeah.
But with a line like this, you get those little quick spin ups along that leading edge. So that's likely what we are going to see. We kind of saw a little bit of that last night before it entered into the region. There was a couple of tornado warnings just to the west of Jackson County, so close to Maquoketa. So no surprise that we do have this threat for today, because along those lines, you get those little quick, brief spin-ups. Again, they can produce up to, I'd say, EF2 tornadoes, so it can do some damage, you know, to roofs out there, take down some trees, take down some power lines as well, for sure. And not only that, we are looking at a wind threat with this. Like we said, we're going to be talking about heavy rainfall, and that just amplifies the wind, too.
Yeah, and the wind threat is going to be most likely your most widespread threat. And you can see that there. Everybody's in the 2 out of 5. So again, there's no change with who's got the higher threat where. Everyone is still there. But like Morgan said, you know, even if it is a weak tornado, if it's not an EF3 or EF4 or EF5, you can still get some damage with that. And also the fact, too, I know there's probably going to be some chasers out there today. Everything's going to be just covered in rain. This is going to be a very, very classic high precipitation, what we call environment, and it's not going to be easy to spot if you get under a tornado warning. So wouldn't recommend trying to go out and see something today. It's just not one of those days where you're going to see it. We're in the middle of July just about. That kind of weather isn't going to return until we get to about September. So it's going to be hard to see anything in terms of tornadoes today. That could also be dangerous too.
Yeah. So let's take a look at our future tracks so we can let
Think it updated. Fingers crossed, maybe. And again, we're going to show this on the fly here. So this could be a new solution that we may or may not agree with based on what we're seeing. So this is kind of taking over the short range one that came in about an hour ago.
Wow.
Bringing in this line a little bit earlier.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
See, if that initial line does happen, that will likely take away a lot of the risk later for those storms. That doesn't mean that flooding isn't going to, with this solution, I'd say flooding is going to be my biggest concern.
Oh, yeah.
However, again, looking at radar right now, it doesn't really pan out as much. I mean, the boundary is still there. It's still trying to produce some storms. It'll be something worth watching.
Yeah, there's definitely some storms likely elevated going on kind of northeast of Des Moines. I kind of want to compare. So take a mental snapshot of this image, if you will. And I know it's a little crowded with fronts and low pressures and everything, but take the mental snapshot where we have the thunderstorms, you know, northeast of Des Moines. Those will be heading north. We have some light rain up into northern Iowa. Go back to the model, and we kind of did this last time we had a severe storm discussion. We looked at the now versus reality here, and
yeah, there's a cluster of storms. It's definitely overperforming.
Yep.
In central Iowa right now.
A little bit more kind of coverage there versus reality on the model itself. So that, you know, just it looks like it's trying to get some outflow or some of that rain-cooled air to develop new storms a little further east of that. And it's a scenario I just haven't been buying much into this morning. I just don't see that happening.
And the tricky part with this is the boundary.
Yeah.
It's stalled. So you're really reliant on, is it going to remain stalled? Is it going to start moving? and again, it can go north or south. So it does get really tricky. It is definitely a keep updated, watch and wait kind of scenario.
Yeah. We're going to get another model run likely sometime around noon, I think, is the next one. It's about every 4 hours. By noon, for sure. I mean, you look at this model run, it says noon, we've got a line of storms heading out to the west of us.
And again, if that happens, I'm not anticipating then much, because that would just really kind of wring out all the moisture in the atmosphere.
Works things over.
Yeah, and it would kind of take away from those storm chances later this evening. If this doesn't happen and we continue to see clearing skies, then you can anticipate we are going to get a pretty good line this evening.
Yeah. So now we've got 2 scenarios on the table. The first scenario, which is the one we showed you earlier, which is keeping skies quiet until later this afternoon when storms develop in central Iowa. This is a different scenario that has waves of storms coming in. This would be a big flood threat for southern hometowns and in the metro Quad Cities as well because of 2 waves coming in. It looks like along and south of Interstate 80. Big flood threat if scenario number 2 comes in.
Yeah, and again, I would, if we do start to see this line kind of come together closer to noon, I think we would start to see some pretty gusty winds with it, but I think that wind threat would get taken down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But again, it's that elevated flood threat that we do see. So again, all threats today are definitely going to be at play. It's definitely worth watching here for the next couple of hours.
I'm going to put this back on the previous run, the run that we're kind of more confident in as of right now, based on everything that we've looked at. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this back on the, I believe it was the, if I get the right one. Oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong layer. I'm like, why isn't it changing?
There's a lot of moving parts.
Well, you know, if you'd had the right layer, that would really help. Okay, so this was the one from, this is the one that, you know, a little bit more confidence in. So let's zoom back in. Let's get to the times really quick. Time of arrival. If you're wondering when is it going to hit. Again, this is based on the scenario we're kind of confident in as of this morning. So west of the Quad Cities, you know, from I would say Monticello down to Tipton, Muscatine, Mount Pleasant, that would be roughly about 4 to 5. You get it here in the metro, I would say 4 to 6-ish. So that would be Galena, Savannah, Clinton, Maquoketa, Quad Cities, Keithsburg, Burlington, 4 to 6. And then as you march this eastward, this would be after 6 o'clock for Sterling Rock Falls, Milledgeville, Chadwick, Prophetstown, Geneseo, Kewanee, Galesburg, Knoxville. Into Princeton, probably a little bit closer to 7, if not a little bit after 7. But this is the timing that we have right now. And this matches up well, too, with the rapid refresh. The timing is just about the same, what I was looking at earlier. So we're fairly confident in the timing. What remains to be seen is, again, like Morgan said, are we going to get that round early this afternoon?
Does this model have anything popping up around, or this model run? So it does. Honestly, I think this is kind of playing out a little bit more accurate.
Yeah.
Because it's not as wide in coverage in the morning like we're seeing right now.
Yep.
But it still has it's still picking up some activity early this morning, which is honestly, it's almost spot on to what we're seeing right now happening on radar.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely say this model run is hitting it more. But this is what we've been dealing with for the past couple of days, and we've been discussing here and on our weather team is it's been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
Whether it's, are we going to get it in the morning? Are we going to keep it in the evening? It's really been the big question for us for the past, honestly, 24 hours.
And that's why we've been, you know, a little hesitant on the weather impact alert issuance because, you know, a couple of days ago it was like, oh, something might be there, but then it kind of backed off.
Yeah.
And then it came back and then it backed off again. So it's like
this time of year is real tricky. It's real tricky.
Just don't have these strong features that models can deal with. These are all small scale features that are hard to forecast. So that's the challenge. So there's the timing. We've got the timing bolted down. We've got the threats bolted down. Any other open-ended questions we can have that we can get through?
No,
or
it's just mainly timing and when does things start. So again, I just say stay weather aware. Again, we're going to have more updates for you coming up at the 11 o'clock.
That's right.
We'll continue to monitor it if we need to do, I don't know if they already have this plan, but maybe another brief little stream to update you later on this afternoon likely could be a good possibility. So we'll keep you informed.
Oh yeah, this gracious young lady has offered to do the 11 for me. I have a feeling I will be back with you and Chief Meteorologist James Zahara this evening.
Yes, you go get a good nap
Yes.
in, and then maybe we'll have some fun later on this evening.
We'll see what blows through this evening.
Yeah.
But as always, you can count on us. We will be here covering it for you live with all of the tools and all of the resources that we have at our disposal. We'll have this covered for you. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. If I don't see you this evening, again, stay weather aware today. We'll continue to track it as we go throughout your Friday. The Storm Track 8 app, get it on your phone now, get the notifications turned on, and we'll let you know if we have another 8+ stream this afternoon on our social media sites. So stay tuned and stay safe, Quad Cities. We'll see you later.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8+ app everywhere you stream.